If you do remember, Graham Jones was brought in to the coaching setup, and Callum Wilson said exactly this on Graham Jones. He said, I think Graham Jones coming in as a coach definitely complemented the manager because he's a little bit more tactically aware and up to date, whereas the manager has his different strengths and attributes. When you see the results towards the back end of the season and the way we were in games, we had more of a style and philosophy.
Outrageous statement.
I mean, if you're Steve Bruce waking up and reading that about what your striker has got to say, comparing the manager to one of the coaches, you would be a little bit angry, wouldn't you?
Oh, well, yes, but when you've had how many games has he had, Steve Bruce, as a manager at the highest level, and Graham Jones has had what? None?
Well, I mean, he tried to be a manager at Luton, didn't he? Luton Town, Graham Jones. That didn't quite work out.
Steve Bruce has had about 700 games more than him. Proven. So I think Callum's got his words mixed up. I can see what he's trying to say. He's probably thinking, Steve's the manager. You just manage the players and let him do the training on the pitch because your ideas are like a dinosaur of keep tight, get it forward, head it out. But actually, Steve Bruce will come back into fashion. They'll come back into fashion at some point. Defenders,
do you think?
Yeah, defenders defending properly. There's still going to be two sides to football now. When you've got the ball and when you haven't got the ball.
Yeah.
You've got to be good
and
at
we
both.
Still have that.
But you've got to have players who can actually stop the opposition's best players. They've got the tools to actually defend against Lewandowski. Not just good footballers.
Yeah, but we do have that still. There are still some defenders who will defend but can also play out from the back.
That's Rio Ferdinand and Steve Bruce and then Gary Pallister, that type of player. If you've as a defender, this is my opinion, as a defender, you've got to be able to defend first because otherwise we've got to score two. If our back four can't defend very well, but they're all good footballers, we've got to score two before we kick off because they've got, just take, for example, Bayern Munich, Ribéry on the left, Robben on the right, and Lewandowski. Who's going to stop them scoring? Because you've got to have the tools to be able to stop them. If you can play football as well, that decides what level you play at. But you can play in the Sunday League, you can earn a living as a defender. But if you can play football on top of that, you can earn a fortune. And that is Rio Ferdinand. He could defend and play. So they're coaching young players now how to play out from the back, but they've actually stopped drumming it into them that you have to use your body to block shots. You have to get your head to the ball in the box. You have to man-mark people. I don't know
if that's right, Dean.
No, I don't think they've been taught like they used to be taught. Well, Steve Bruce has still got them principles in him. And them principles are needed. They still needed. They still always will be. Obviously, the style of football's changed where but you've still got to have players, and he demands that. He demands players, as a defender, do not turn your back on shots and crosses. Stop the winger getting the ball in the box. I've played under him. He was my manager at Sheffield United. And he used to just say, defend your goal. Okay. Defend your goal with your life. He used to say to the back four. And he used to do it himself because he played at Sheffield United. He was player manager. So when the ball come in, he's just like a magnet on his head. He just put his head in. He'd mark people properly. He wouldn't let drift into space and let the ball go over his head. He was a really, really good defender. But, I mean, he gets criticised for the team not playing attractive football. But I think he deserves a new contract.
Well,
for working with Mike Ashley. He deserves a new contract.
Just for that alone.
Well, he's got his hands tied. They finished.
Well, let's just skip to the speculation. Is he set to be handed a new 3-year deal at Newcastle? And that is despite the fact that it's fair to say that the majority of Newcastle fans aren't quite enamoured by Steve Bruce. But you think he deserves it?
Yeah, well, he's a Newcastle fan, and I've been there. You know, I worked there. It's a great club, great supporters, really enthusiastic, as friendly as you could imagine. Any club I've ever been at, I was treated there brilliantly. Mm-hmm. They demand that the team goes at people, but I mean, that's sort of been squashed a little bit because they got relegated and then Benitez took over and played 4-5-1 and sat back, and the crowd, I'd never thought at St James's Park you'd be able to sit back and let the opposition have 60% possession, but they did, and they realised